Like to call to order the meeting tonight for the commission, March 11th. Could you please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
McGill, roll call, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Commissioner Clinton,
Present.
Commissioner Grella. Here. Commissioner Silverman,
Here.
Commissioner Swager Wilson,
Present.
Commissioner Siegler is not able to join us this evening.
Thank you. We'll start with a summary of the discussion session topics. Mr. McGill, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Earlier tonight, the Commission met in discussion session and received information and discussed the following items. We heard a presentation of the results of a recently completed field utilization study. I'd like to thank Amanda Ross, Tom Langston, and Ian Smith, and everybody else that was involved in compiling that information. It's very comprehensive, very well done, and will serve as a good resource as we move forward with that conversation. We received information on the Activate Uptown planning effort, project area and deliverables. We heard a presentation regarding a possible capital project for the library and next steps. And we also heard updates on activities of various boards from their commission liaisons. Prior to the meeting, the commission met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, March 26th at 8 p.m. in this room. Here are the ways the public can participate, either in person. You don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the appropriate meeting time. And if you wish to speak, sign the sheet at the back of the room, or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn. That's all I have, Madam.
Marvelous. Community highlights, Commissioner Grella.
Thank you, Madam President. 3 topics tonight: weather, some related maintenance, volunteer boards, and uptown pedestrian safety. Winter weather and heavy spring storms can lead to the unintended consequence of litter along our streets when snowmelt and stormwater carry away trash. Please take some time to pick up the area around your sidewalks and promptly discard any trash that may have blown or fallen from cans. Our public works crews are cleaning catch basins to remove leaves and sticks that may have collected there, but you are also encouraged to freshen up the ones near your home if the crews have not gotten to your neighborhood yet. Doing so will help prevent flooding near the basins. March is the last month of meetings before several of our volunteer boards are sunsetted in favor of the new board structure in April. As these boards meet for the last times, the commission would like to publicly thank all the volunteers who have served our community so well over the years. Your expertise, your passion, and your dedication to making Mount Lebanon better has increased quality of life for us all. For the volunteers we've scheduled to go forward with on the new boards, and I think we're talking about them tonight, thank you for stepping up and giving of your time and talent. Finally, over the last few weeks, Mount Lebanon has had several accidents involving pedestrians and vehicles. If you're driving a car, please obey all traffic signals and carefully watch all crosswalks. Please note speed limits and realize that your vehicle is no match for a walker, a runner, a cyclist, or a person working in construction zones. It is imperative that you do not drive while distracted. For those not in a vehicle, please ensure you are visible at dusk and dawn and do not assume a driver sees you. Pedestrians, cross in crosswalks in business districts. In residential areas, make sure roads are clear in all directions before crossing. Parents, review safe walking procedures with your children. It will take all of us to ensure that no one gets hurt. Please do your part.
Thank you. Next up, Junior Commissioner Kate Yang.
So there's not too much going on at the high school right now. We're kind of in the home stretch before spring break. Only 2 more weeks. Like, we got this. We can do this. Not me. I don't know. But last week, some of the exciting things that happened were Monday was the first day of spring sports. So this was super exciting for the high school because, I mean, there's like lacrosse, softball, and a bunch of other sports. On Tuesday, high schoolers took a PASS survey. So we had an extended first period to take this. And this stands for Pupil Attitudes to Self and School Survey. And basically this is, provides teachers, school counselors, and administration with highly reliable and valid information about how students feel about themselves as a learner and how they feel in school. And Mount Lebanon will use this information to proactively address non-academic barriers to learning. Also, this past Friday, was the cum laude ceremony. So we had 80 seniors inducted into the society. And congratulations to them for their hard work, dedication, and academic achievement, as it's a huge accomplishment. This past Saturday, digital SATs were hosted at Mount Lebanon High School. And then also coming up is a play directed by the Evening and Technical Theater Companies. So the play is called Who Killed Aunt Caroline? And it will be March 13th through March 16th, which is this week, I'm pretty sure, at 7:30 p.m. And tickets are $8 and can be purchased online through a link. And
Great.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific questions, we will try and answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address the commission. State your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope and we expect that the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. First up tonight is Colonel Hoon.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. At a recent meeting, I brought up the item of leadership. And when we got together in the past week with members of my group, Friends of the Earth, it was mentioned that we really don't know anything about you guys. Nothing. You live in Mount Lebanon and you're party draftees for this position. That's it. And yet, 2 of you shot up your hands so fast when I mentioned leadership that we almost thought you were going to dislocate your shoulders. So I wonder if the 2 of you, Mr. Silverman and Commissioner Flynn, could elaborate on this leadership training. We're really interested.
I am still smarting over your comment about party draftees. That,
Whatever.
no, it's a big whatever. So when you throw out a rock like that, you expect someone to comment, but it's your 5 minutes, so please go on.
Well, is your leadership training the academy for newly elected officials? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I can only speak for me, and I did attend the local government academy, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, that leaves out Stanford's MBA and Harvard's JD MBA.
Excuse me, I have an MBA, but what's the difference, Bill? Sorry, Colonel.
Well, where'd you get it?
What is the difference? You're welcome to look on
Yeah,
my
okay,
website and get
okay.
all sorts of details on me.
All right, don't want to talk. By the way, that Allegheny County program is not a leadership training program. It's a familiarization program for newly elected officials. And that's so you have some idea of what you're doing before you walk into it.
Really, I didn't know that. I attended it, so I think I have a pretty good idea what it's all about.
Well, okay. Native Americans that inhabited this area before us did all their planning 7 years out. I don't know if you folks were aware of that. That's a long time. We don't do that because, well, we have to tear buildings down, put up new buildings, do all kinds of stuff that has to be brand new. And that causes some problems. It's there's no long-term look at things. And yet, we've been killing deer without clear purpose for 20 years. That's incredible. So many people have moved out of this township because of that little project. I mean, people that used to walk in the parks and take their dogs for walks don't do that. Because as one woman told me, they can throw as much water as they want on that blood. My dog still knows exactly where it is, and any dog would. So we're still doing that. And you have no clear reason. Your reason is, well, they're crashing our cars and there's grievous injury and people are dying, which has never happened anywhere in this country or in any other. Deer just don't do that. They don't volunteer to die. I have seen deer on 2 occasions walk up to the curb and look both ways before they cross the street. One of them was a female with young ones. She was teaching them, but of course you guys will have killed mom. So the little ones don't know what's going on. And they'll just dash into the street. The wonderful thing we're doing, wonderful. And by the way, we are much, much closer to World War III tonight than we've ever been. Have a good night, folks.
Thank you, Colonel Hoon.
President, just one point of clarification for the record. Municipality does and always has engaged in long-term planning. We recently adopted our comprehensive plan earlier this year. That's a 10-year long-range plan for the community. We spent 18 months in a public process to go through that to get input.
Right.
And in addition to that, we do invest significantly in a number of other plans that are, I'll say, more strategic plans, but we do always have a long-term plan for this community.
And we're well known for it. Okay, Mr. Egler, you're next.
David Egler, 121 Poplar Drive. It appears that the commissioners moved the meeting up a day because you couldn't wait another day to hear me speak about.
So, right?
I totally
That
understand.
was exactly the way it worked. Yeah.
I know there was another excuse, but that's secondary, but I'm glad you couldn't wait for it. But anyway, obviously I'm here again to speak about the refuse fee. I was just wondering if the commissioners would authorize something to be put out to the residents. I've given you enough information since November on the impact for different people and such. It would be nice if the residents, once again, as I talk to them, none of them have a clue about anything. They don't understand it at all. Yeah, they got a fee, how much of an impact? They don't realize that 60% of what the average homeowners in fees compared to taxes, they don't get that. They don't realize that the millage has been dropped back. They're paying 12% higher than they should in the millage. Nobody understands that. It'd be nice if something was put out. I gave you a good example for $1, $3, $5, $7 to $9,000, $100,000 homes. Just show the people, let them see what's what, let them get an understanding of it. Nobody wants to come up to speak on it because they don't understand it. They don't understand it. I said, come up, ask to something, and they're like, they don't want to do it. So it'd be nice if something would get out there. The only information that's been out there was the potential impact on the taxes, and that was not correct for a couple months. So once again, there's nothing out there to let the people know what this impact is. And like I said, we're bringing in now close to $10 million in fees. I mean, that's huge. When you look at how much for each of these things. Once again, I was around here when it was 25 cents per 1,000 gallons on the sanitary sewer. And that was supposed to replace the annual maintenance and a little bit towards some of the capital. With what's being collected now on sanitary sewer, storm sewer and everything, is not only covering the day-to-day maintenance, but capital projects. I mean, you have capital projects that are under the stormwater that are doing streets. I mean, there's no problem whatsoever in doing capital projects anymore because there's so much money being brought in with these fees. And when you look at when these fees were put in, you don't see an offset in lowering the millage. Didn't happen. To me, it's just another way to avoid a tax increase. And if you do this every 10 years, hey, raise a fee, bring in X amount of money, you don't have to worry about the millage. So what I'm asking is put something out there that the people can understand and simple. I've given you enough information. I'll be glad to help with that. Once again, people just don't understand it. It's confusing. I get it. It's not confusing for me. Okay, I saw from day one what's going on. I haven't, no problem understanding it, but nobody else seems to. So if I would really like you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Egler. Next up, I'm gonna butcher your last name, Miss. Oh, and here you are, Mr. Chris Franchina.
Franciscina,
It's kind of close.
Chris Franciscina, 626 Kelso Road.
Thank you. Welcome.
So I wanted to bring up a topic that was actually already mentioned, driving safety. So I hope everybody here knows that there was an incident that was recently happened in my neighborhood. Unfortunately, a child was hit by a car on Kelso Road. So thankfully, the child is okay, as someone can be when they get hit by a car. He's bruised and, obviously he's probably quite a bit scared to cross roads and things like that at this point. What I wanted to talk about is a few neighbors and I have raised concerns over Kelso Road and the safety of it for the past few years. I'm really not surprised that this happened. I'm actually shocked it hasn't happened yet, and that we've been very lucky that no one's really gotten injured at that spot. I know we were actually included in the sidewalk survey that was done recently, but the ability to actually accomplish that and like move that forward in our neighborhood is very difficult due to the nature of the way that the agreement is structured, the way that the policy has been structured. Recently, I have had a few good exchanges with some of our local leadership. It sounds like we are going to be doing a crossing guard study for that street. I don't expect a lot there. I know there's not a ton of children that cross. And also, we threw out the idea of potentially looking at, I threw out the idea of potentially looking at one of the flashing crosswalks or some alternatives there that we're working on trying to figure out how to bring that up at the next mobility and transportation meeting. But I guess my frustration is that we raised this for many years. There's been a variety of folks that have raised this. And we haven't really gained a lot of traction through that process. There's been some discussion. We did some surveys and things. But I'm not an urban planner. Our community is not urban planners. I don't know what the best solution is. And I wish we would have had prior engagement to this to understand and work through what that could look like. I don't know that a crossing guard's a good option, maybe a stop sign, maybe something else, that we could talk through, but we don't know what all the options are as, residents of Mount Lebanon. We even actually worked in, one of our, an attendee here who actually worked to get a speed study done through the state without any municipality interaction. And we did that ourselves, and they came back and made recommendations. And they made a few changes so that it was a speed study. They said that the speed should not change on the street, but they did come back and made recommendations on signage and some different things. And those things have not moved forward based on that study. And so I'm not sure how we go forward. I guess there's the new mobility and transportation board. So we're going to engage with that, but I'm sure there's many residents that are frustrated by the fact that how do we come up with options? How do we work through that it's been an identified issue? Luckily, that child was not killed. That could have happened but we could have prevented that from happening in the first place if we could work through and identify some issues. One of the things that we've heard as we've met with folks is that it's a state road that creates problems. But the email that, so I reached out to Dan Miller, our state representative. They reached out to PennDOT. PennDOT came back and said, all of those things are on the table, that we can discuss those things. There's no stoppage of that. There's requirements and things we need to submit and request, but that those things, they actually said that, yeah, sure, like you can look into getting a flashing light. It's obviously, it's on the municipality to install it and support it and do those things, but there seems to be limited restriction from PennDOT from that perspective. And so I'd love to, hopefully, again, maybe this new board is the solution, but really establish how a resident can work with you all to improve it. It's supposed to be a walking community. There's no buses for our children. And I encourage any of you to sit on Kelso and tell me that that's a safe place for a child to cross. It's not. You can't see this, you can't see the crosswalk. The signage, actually, there's a sticker on one of them, so you can't even see that it's a crosswalk. It's not a safe area, and it's actually labeled by the township, and I know there's definitions to it, but Kelso is labeled a safe walking route for children. There's no sidewalks. There's not clear crossing markings like that. It's not a safe area. So we're going to continue to engage, but I just wanted to state that obviously, hoping to partner more and find a way that we can come up with a solution in that spot.
Chris, just a few points of clarification. You and I have exchanged a couple emails on this subject.
Yep.
The speed study that was done by PennDOT actually was done based on a letter that I sent to PennDOT. It has to come from the municipality. They won't take a speed study request from a resident. So I have a copy of that letter. The response actually came back to me. The second part of that letter was the request to look at a crosswalk at Pembroke. Essentially what PennDOT said was, hey, look, municipality can put a crosswalk in anywhere they want, but it's your responsibility to install and to maintain. So we did that. As a result of that speed study, they made a couple recommendations. One was for signage that they were going to install, which they've done. The other was for signage that we were to install, which we've done. So I'm not sure what you're referencing when you say that none of those recommendations have been implemented, because to my knowledge, they have.
I'm not familiar with the update, so that could be possible. I haven't seen any new signs go up, and I live on the road, but they mentioned primarily that there should be more postage of the speed, but regardless, clearly, even after those changes, a child was still hit by a car, so I would say that there still is opportunity for improvement.
Madam President, may I?
Yes, Meg.
With this new board realignment, one of my goals through this whole process was to make a more robust process around, pedestrian safety, accessibility. If you go out in the hall, you'll see I ride my bike here. So I'm a firm believer that these are issues. I would have stood in your spot a few years ago and said pretty much the exact same things. Street design is a challenge, right? And it takes a lot of time. One of my hopes is that with this new mobility board, we can make a more robust process where people can learn what is possible on a street, right? Because again, oftentimes the request is, we want a speed bump. But a speed bump, is articulating, I have a speed problem or I perceive not being safe, but that's not necessarily the right answer. So to your point, we're not all urban planners, we're not all traffic engineers, right? So how do we create a process that is much more robust, that is engaging the neighborhood? Because granted, Kelso is not our street. That is a state road, but most of the streets are our streets, right? We do have options, but again, residents don't necessarily always know what is possible, and it does need to be a community discussion. So how do we do that in a more effective way? I completely agree. It is something that I think the municipality works very hard at, but we're hoping to do more because it is an issue.
Commissioner Grella?
Yeah, I would also add, and the solicitors here and the chief is in back, they can overrule me if I say something incorrect here, but my read of our code and my read of how traffic changes work, it's not a subjective process. It's a very objective process. And you're referencing what the state said could or couldn't be done, or whether speed should be changed or shouldn't be changed. So that process is very objective, and there's a bunch of things that they step through. All of that is then summed up with a catch-all that basically says if the police, mostly the police, local police and management as well, think that an area is unsafe, they can kind of put measures in place to make it more safe. So that's just to say, work with your commissioner and work with the Traffic and Mobility Board. The existing traffic board has made many positive changes when residents have brought issues like this to them. As I've walked around the Fourth Ward, and we have many similar issues, I've run into people who have engaged the traffic board 20 years ago on items that unfortunately were not changed, things like safe walking routes around the house school. And some of them have. So I think it's a matter of working with your commissioner, working with the Traffic and Mobility Board, and you know, I think going a little bit above and beyond maybe what you might just get from a state road survey to understand. I think, as Andrew said, obviously we have long range plans and there are things that take time, but there's also the practical need when we know or think maybe that an area could be safer than it is. So I think we do have to weigh both of those. You know, a design that we have to plan a couple of years down the road and, you know, a real need of maybe even a changing traffic pattern. So I would encourage you, I think that is the right board, and then your commissioner as well.
And I think we're in that transition. Sorry, the last traffic board meeting, you're not a liaison too. So that was in March. So the next window, if you will, is April what? Just for the mobility.
the date off
Okay.
my head.
Okay. So unfortunately, the door at traffic is closed because the new mobility board is coming online in April. So it's, you know, I'm sure someone has that date. I'm looking at Laura.
We were
Uh,
planning on attending.
Uh,
We just don't know how to get.
Before you leave, we'll get you that date for.
And I think I gave you the contact information for Commissioner Flynn as the liaison, and then staff liaisons to that board are Rudy Sukel, who's our Public Works Director, and Lieutenant Scott Green from the Traffic.
And you've been looping me in as your commissioner, and I've been saying we need to get back to you with an answer. So thank you for keeping me looped in on the emails.
I'm just going to close out with two comments. One, I know Chief Haberman, under the direction of Manager McGill, is actively working right now on possible school guard and possible flashing crosswalk.
The school
guard
guard
is-
is his, the flashing,
Yes.
rapidly
Is,
repeating flashing
PennDOT.
beacon is PennDOT's.
Mhm.
There's a whole separate process for that.
I'm also going to say that really the only very effective way of slowing down traffic is physical barriers. And so what everyone is alluding to is when it's a state road, they don't like and don't want physical barriers. So there is a process that we have to work through to affect those kind of things, which takes time, which Commissioner Grella was talking about, and takes a lot of know-how, which fortunately we have good competent staff to help as much as possible. But it's very difficult. For years, PennDOT wanted to get cars from here to there, and that was their charge. And now we've realized perhaps that we need to really take into interest all the different modalities of transportation to make things safer. So, but thank you for coming. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does he need to get on the agenda? That's the info you sent? You could-
Yeah,
okay.
that's why they provided it. Is there anyone online?
No one with their hand raised.
Okay, that ends citizen comments. Commissioner Grella, item 4.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration of the minutes from the adjourned meeting held February 27, 2024. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Madam President. Public hearing and consideration of ordinance bill number 2-24, making technical amendments to the garbage fee ordinance. Mount Lebanon currently has an ordinance assessing a fee for garbage collection. It's desirable to enact some technical amendments to the ordinance to clarify provisions relating to calculation, exoneration, and review procedures regarding the fee. This ordinance was introduced on February 27th, 2024.
Thank you. We will now conduct the public hearing. Mr. Egler, you're up again.
David, I go to 121 Poplar Drive. If I wasn't convinced before I am now, you definitely want me up here to speak on this.
We do, yes.
There are 17 more meetings through the year, 5 minutes each, that's about an hour and a half, so
Mhm.
enjoy it because I don't give up easily. Just a couple of things related as I was looking through the actual ordinance and under section 14-704, under the exoneration. It mentions about a notarized affidavit. It would be nice if it would let the people know, I know you have notaries on staff, to make that available for anybody who needs anything notarized, that they can maybe use the staff. That would be helpful if that would be allowed to come in here and have it notarized. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. Under B, mentions about providing a utility bill. I guess I'm looking at if I went away, I wouldn't necessarily be turning off my services. If it's during the winter time, I'm gonna have my electric on and heat, potentially water and everything else. I wouldn't be doing anything with the utilities. So as far as I'm concerned, that's no proof that I'm there or not. So I just think it's kind of strange about the utilities having that as a requirement to look at the utility bills. Then we kind of go into C, okay, there's an alternative for it. Now, I kind of question this. It says Mount Lebanon shall have the right to inspect and verify the occupancy status. Does that mean they're gonna be walking in my front door, somebody and saying, hey, anybody here?
Well, that'd be a little hard without you giving permission to do that, wouldn't it,
Right.
Mr. Regler?
Well,
most people secure
well,
residents
I'm
when
wondering,
they
it says
leave.
you have the right to inspect.
That's correct. That means with the owner's consent.
Well, I'm just wondering how you go about doing that. You know, what do
Well,
you?
obviously-
So hopefully nobody's peeking in the bedroom window.
Well, if someone is requesting the exoneration, as part of that, we would have a conversation, to your point. If it's not a utility bill, maybe it's a stop mail order that goes to the post office. There are other ways to provide evidence of not occupying a property.
Okay, I mean, but when I see the word right to inspect and verify, yeah, I kind of look at it as the way that's worded. I could take that to be right to actually go on the property. If you're saying that that's not the case,
We
fine.
Respect all property owners' Fourth Amendment.
But like I said,
There's constitutional restrictions. We can't waive those in an ordinance.
well, I understand, but like I said, when things are written, I spent a half hour this evening dealing with my credit card company and with what's written and what's said, there's two different things. So I struggle with arguing people over that. And like I said, I look at how things are written. And if somebody could take advantage of it, I'm not saying that you guys would. I'm just looking at it's a little bit vague, that somebody may question that. So that's just my concern. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That's the end of the public.
Anybody online?
Anybody on, I'm sorry, anybody online?
Not with their hand raised.
Okay, all right. Well, that would be the end of the public hearing. Mr.
All
Silverman,
right, I move to enact ordinance bill number 2-24.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 6, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the adoption of the standard resolution number R-5-24 for a planning module for the Beadling Road subdivision. As part of the subdivision permit process, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, PADEP, requires sewage planning approval. The proposed Beadling Road subdivision consists of 3 single-family lots located along Beadling Road and 1 single-family lot located along James Place, has submitted the required sewage planning documents. This includes the standard resolution associated with updating the, quote, official sewage facilities plan, end quote, to include the development and standard transmittal letter. The development project has also obtained preliminary approval from the planning board. Municipal engineer has reviewed the documents submitted and recommends adoption of the standard resolution and transmitting it to PADEP. I move to adopt the standard resolution for Beadling Road subdivision project and transmit the planning module to PADEP.
Second.
2
Any
seconds.
discussion? We got 2
Need a
seconds.
second and a third.
Any discussions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 7, Commissioner Grella.
Thank you, Madam President. Appointments as Commission Liaison to Municipal Advisory Boards. February 28th, 2023, the commission approved ordinance number 3356, amending the administrative code to realign the structure of municipal advisory boards, which take effect on April 1, 2024. The new advisory boards will have the following commissioners serve as liaisons. All other liaison appointments made at the January 2nd, 2024 reorganization meeting are still in effect. The appointments are on the board for those in the room and for those at home, hopefully on the screen. I'll read them very quickly. The new engagement, Civic Engagement Board, Ann Margaret Wilson. Community Sustainability and Economic Development, Jeff Siegler. Mobility and Transportation, Andrew Flynn. Parks and Recreation, Craig Grella. Financial Management, Steve Silverman.
I don't know if there's a second announcing, so. Okay, thank you.
Fabulous.
Lovely.
Okay. Commissioner Flynn, item 8.
President, the municipality maintains a number of boards and authorities. The commission thanks all of these dedicated residents for their hours of service to the municipality. At this time, it is necessary to reappoint members who are eligible for another term and to appoint new members to fill vacancies caused by board member retirements or resignations. Madam President, I move to reappoint the following members. Amanda D'Amico, Civil Service; Robert Taylor, Library; Dr. Anthony Moretti, Library; David Horniak, Planning; and Andrew Campanaro, Hornacek, thank you. My apologies. And Andrew Campanaro to Zoning. On February 28th, 2023, the commission approved ordinance number 3356, amending the administrative code to realign the structure of municipal advisory boards. Ordinance 3356 takes effect on April 1st, 2024. At this time, the commission needs to appoint residents to serve on these advisory boards. I'm not going to read this list. This is a very, very long list. Hopefully, everybody can see this. It will be multiple screens, I am sure.
Yes.
Because there are many people who are being appointed to appeals, civic engagement, community sustainability and economic development, financial management, mobility and transportation, parks and recreation, library, and zoning. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'll
Second.
second that.
Okay.
Moving to appoint these people. I'll second that.
Apparently, we're not supposed to second that either, so.
Yeah, these are typically not seconded and
Okay.
voted.
But I made that mistake.
That's okay.
But I'll mark that it was unanimous about. from the
How about
commission.
that?
There you go. Love it.
Okay. Yes, yes, thank you to all of these volunteers. Commissioner Grella, item number 9, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the award of the Activate Uptown Planning Contract. Activate Uptown is planning an initiative focused on targeting areas in the Uptown Main Street District to activate and enhance key nodes where placemaking investments and/or site improvements are necessary to attract vitality to our central business district. The municipality seeks to enter into contract with Pasek MTR to provide consultant services enabling this effort. The total budgeted amount for this contract is $44,500. The project is to be funded through a DCED Keystone Community Grant in the amount of $22,250 and a municipal match of $22,250. I move to award Activate Uptown contract to Pasek MTR in the amount of $44,500.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, for those who've been around for a while, this is the continuation of a plan that we had discussed before the Uptown Revitalization Project. It's called something similar, placemaking. It involves, as Eric had mentioned during our discussion session, there will be multiple points in which the public can engage with Pasek and the municipality in helping us to plan some of the public installations that will go in to make this a more welcoming space and to activate the space even better. So hopefully that will be posted on the website and, go out and multiple methods for people to engage, but we hope that people take the opportunity to engage with the municipality and our consultants to tell us some of the things that they'd like to see, public art, other types of things that help activate the space. So please do that.
Thank you. Okay, no other?
Well, we love these leveraged opportunities where it's a 50-50 match. So we like to maximize those. Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the award of the Public Works Storage Building and grading and foundation work for the Fire Training Center. Bids were received on February 13th, 2024 for the Public Works Storage Building and Fire Training Center. The project involves the preparation for and construction of a new pre-engineered metal storage building, base bid 1, and preparing the Fire Training Center foundations, base bid number 2, at the Mount Lebanon Public Works Yard. The request also included an add alternate for a larger crane, add alternate number 1 for the Public Works Building. Municipal engineer has verified the bids as follows. They are on my right and the audience's left, and hopefully on the screen for our audience, our wonderful viewing audience. The municipal engineer has verified the bid and determined, or bids plural, and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the project to be awarded to DeMarco Construction. The contractor has completed this type of work previously in a satisfactory manner. The total budget amount for this contract, including the fire training structure, is $1,265,000. The project is to be funded through the general fund, and a grant application is pending for the fire training structure purchase and installation. I move to award the DPW Storage Building and Fire Training Center contract to DeMarco Construction for base bid 1 minus the 2-ton crane, which is $487,904. Base bid 2, which is $153,616, and add alternate number 1 for the 5-ton electric crane, which is $47,774 for a total amount of $1,689,294.
Second.
You do these, Mike.
Wait, any discussion? All those, what? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the award of the 2024 Brick Street Restoration Program. Bids were received on February 7th, 2024 for the 2024 Brick Streets Restoration Contract. The project consists of the removal and replacement of deteriorated portions of brick streets throughout the municipality. One bid was received. The municipal engineer has verified the bid as follows. Next construction, $98,755. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bid and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the project be awarded to Next Construction. The contractor has completed this work in previous years for the municipality in a satisfactory manner. The budgeted amount for the contract is $93,320, and the engineer's estimate for the project was $90,000. The Director of Public Works will monitor quantities to stay within the assigned budget. The project is to be funded through the transportation portion of the operating budget. Madam President, I move to award the 2024 Brick Streets Restoration Contract to Next Construction in the amount of $98,755.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, Commissioner Grella.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the award of the 2024 crack sealing program. Bids were received on February 7, 2024 for the 2024 crack sealing contract. The project includes the crack sealing of various streets throughout the municipality. The contract includes a base year, 2024, with 3 optional renewal periods. This would allow the contract to be extended at Mount Lebanon's sole discretion until 2027 to maintain continuity. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as follows. You can see it up on the screen here on the audience's left and hopefully again on screen. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bid and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the project be awarded to Russell Standard Corporation. Contractor has completed work previously for the municipality in a satisfactory manner. The budgeted amount for this contract is $26,250. The project is to be funded through the transportation portion of the operating budget. I move to award the 2024 crack sealing contract to Russell Standard Corporation in the amount of $17,800.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the award of the 2024 yearly concrete curb maintenance program. Bids were received on February 7th, 2024 for the 2024 yearly concrete curb maintenance contract. The project consists of the removal and replacement of various sizes of concrete straight curb, concrete roll curb, and concrete curb and gutter throughout the municipality. One bid was received. The municipal engineer has verified the bid as follows. G. Pasquale and Sons Construction Company, $161,150. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bid and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the project be awarded to G. Pasquale and Sons Construction Company. The low bidder has completed similar projects for the municipality in a satisfactory manner. The budgeted amount for the contract is $177,190, and the engineer's estimate for the project was $175,000. The project is within budget and is to be funded through the transportation portion of the operating budget. Madam President, I move to award the 2024 yearly concrete curb maintenance contract to G. Pasquale and Sons Construction Company in the amount of $161,150.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Madam President. Consideration for the award of the 2024 root damage sidewalk maintenance contract. Bids were received on February 14th, 2024 for the 2024 root damage sidewalk maintenance contract. This project includes the removal and replacement of concrete sidewalks damaged by tree roots throughout the municipality. Municipal engineer has verified the bids as follows, and they are on my right, the audience's left, and hopefully on our TV viewers' screens. Municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the project be awarded to G. Pasquale and Sons Construction Company. The contractors completed similar projects for the municipality in a satisfactory manner. The budget amount for this contract is $950,150, and the engineer's estimate for the project was $90,000. The project is within budget and is to be funded through the transportation portion of the operating budget. I move to award the 2024 root damage sidewalk maintenance contract to G. Pasquale and Sons Construction Company in the amount of $78,305.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.